everyone. I'm at the park, very serene right now, but I'm gonna talk about something that might seem to be dark. Very serene, just smoked a joint. We're feeling very peaceful, very greenish park. So let's get started. Again, the usual disclaimer: don't misconstrue what I say. This is for entertainment purpose. It's like an entertainment philosophy, just to spark curiosity and intellectual discussion. Don't misconstrue what I say. Don't hold me responsible. I'm not responsible for any of your actions legally. So having said that, if is it progress if a cannibal uses fork and knives? I think I saw this first time a long time ago, about 20 years ago, in my civics class at Garden Grove High School. He was a chill professor. I'm not gonna name him. I mean, I can understand why he put that on the blackboard. It's almost like challenges your core values and shakes your conscience. And he was a funny guy. He was like, once this girl was putting makeup, and the teacher looked at him, and the girl was like, oh, the girl got sort of like embarrassed and blushed, like, oh, like he's trying to get, oh, I'm sorry, sir, I'll put it away, because she thought she was disturbing the whole class and she was taking up people's time. And then the guy quipped, trust me, we want you to put as much makeup as possible. But see, a teacher they can never get away with that, saying that to a student right now. Again, I'm not gonna name the professor, but the teacher. But it's a cool guy. He was a chill guy. He was a young guy, probably, who knows, probably in his 30s or probably even young. And that was an interesting thing that he wrote on the wall. And I just remember after a long time, 20 years, and it sparks lateral thinking, creativity, like. And I love this kind of creative thought questions. So it's apparently by Stanislaw Lech, Lec, some Polish poet, and that's all I know about him. At home, I also used to have the book Hannibal and Philosophy, some Heart of the Matter, something like that. Found the book to be very boring, nothing important. He didn't delve much into Hannibal's philosophy. So I might as well, you might as well just watch the TV show Hannibal with Will, and because there he goes. Especially like if you YouTube it, like one of the monologues comes about how he talks about Shiva, like Shiva is both creator and destroyer. Just check that monologue, like Hannibal philosophy, God, and that will show up for some other guy. So shout out to him. But there are several layers to it. Like, first of all, when you say if cannibal uses fork, is it progress? Like, well, what do you mean by progress? Because ceteris paribus, it is progress. If you define progress as advancement, so if a cannibal used to have hands and uses fork, that's advancement. But obviously you can argue with that and disagree as much as you want. Like, what is advancement, right? Define advancement. Maybe if we all go backwards to the primitive culture, that's probably advancement. It's like backwards is forwards. Another quan, another squirrels, I guess. So yeah, I'm in the park. Um, but yeah, don't go analyzing my profound quan and observation squirrels. So yeah, like progress. Like, if one can also argue, when we say, oh, killing with lethal injection is more humane form of capital punishment than taking someone's life by shooting him or hanging or like beheading them. So you can see, when we say things like that, like why would that be humane? That's almost that has the same formal structure as this statement. Because one could also equally ask, if capital punishment is done humanely, is it better, which is the same form of basically the logic, quote unquote, behind the statement if a cannibal uses, I mean, fork if it's a progress. Obvious, obvious disagreement to it is, well, oh, look at this guy, he's eating, how barbaric, you're carving a heart out and you're eating, and if it doesn't matter if you use fork or knives or hand, it's still barbaric. But is it though? Isn't it all a spectrum? Just because something is accepted by our society or overall by mankind, global consensus, not hidden, invisible consensus, doesn't make it right or wrong. Think about this thought experiment that I was thinking last night. How, suppose we live in a Orwellian society where you can't even think negative thoughts. It's like, and if you do, the thought police registers it, sends it to a mainframe supercomputer, and the police comes and knocking on your door. Suppose I could be thinking, oh God, look at that fat guy, fat bastard, I want to punch his head out. That's a negative thought, that's a thought crime. Or like, you see some guy you don't like, oh, what an ugly person that is. That's a thought crime. Or someone hits you and you wishes him ill. That's a thought crime. Basically, anything negative is a thought crime. And you can do this almost like China's social credit system, or like Black Mirror, that Black Mirror episode. It's like, what if we live in a utopian society, quote unquote, so-called utopian society, where the only thing you can think is are positive thoughts, and the rest is negativity. See, it's well intentioned, right? We all want utopia. We all want positivity. So it's a utopia. But what would happen soon? It's gonna be imploding. The civilization will implode. It's collapse. Because it'll be metaphorically people eating each other's head off, because they know no matter what they can. It's like the mental diet, mental fast. Some people do 7 days. I don't think anyone can do it. Actually, it's impossible, well nigh, to not to think of negative thoughts. I very much doubt. But then they'll say, oh, don't dwell on it. Okay, fine, but that's a different topic, issue altogether. Mental diet. So think about it. Suppose that was the law decreed by heavens, or not even heavens, by society. We accepted that, yeah, we can never think negative thoughts. Like, we can't even think about it. If you think of someone killing someone, committing a crime, stealing, raping, murder, whatever, it's a crime, right? Like Minority Report. So what would happen? People would rat on each other. People got frustrated and say, hey, I'm gonna go police is gonna come and knocking at my door anytime, so I'm gonna fuck things up. I'm gonna start beating people, shooting people, knifing people, whatever, and it's gonna be chaos and mayhem and anarchy. No, which is ironic, because we started with the whole assumption and the well-meaning intention that it's gonna be a good society, utopia, and that kind of questions the whole big text philosophy. Whether it be Facebook, Google, YouTube, who wants to censor things, make it like this bright Disneyfied place, and but what would be the downfall to it? What would be the unanticipated side effects? Right? It's like they had good intentions behind it, but just because the road to hell is paved with good intentions, just because you have some good intentions in mind. So you'll say, what has that to do with cannibalism? Well, because it's accepted by society. Will not never think negative thoughts. So it's accepted by society. Just because some rule or law is accepted by society doesn't mean it's okay. Similarly, cannibalism, just because it's accepted by society not to do it, doesn't make it quote unquote wrong or anything. It's illegal, sure. So, because this deals with the core issue itself. Forget about using knife or hand. What about cannibalism itself? Is it okay? Why? And there are many layers to it. What if someone voluntarily gives one of his, donates one of his organs or liver? Or like, what if it was dead people, corpse? Can you eat corpse? What if it was because some Aboriginal tribes, they believe because they get the power. The animals probably believe it, like when you consume the flesh of some other person, it's almost sort of like a sacrament ritual. It's like a sacrament. Michel de Montaigne, the French philosopher, also wrote an essay about that. I suggest you look it up. I haven't though in a long time. So they're basically, back in the days, they used to think barbaric, anyone who are not British or the Romans or whatever, they're barbarians, and they must engage in this sort of ungodly activities. So that makes one question. So we have accepted by default that cannibalism is not okay, wrong, immoral, unethical. But are they really? Is it really? What if you're just for survival? You're stranded on a beach. You're floating. You're staying somehow afloat on a raft. And there's only one guy. And at what point would it be, if he gives consent, would that cannibalism at that time would be okay? Or suppose he dies natural cause and he consumes the flesh, will that be okay? Or what if he murders him and then eats him? That's on a different layer, on a different level 3 crime. The first ones are probably more level 1 and level 2 crime. So there are very degrees to it. The truth, yeah, there is absolute truth, but one can also argue there are several layers of degrees to the truth. So from, again, to use the whole diabolical flat earth example, which is very extreme and radical, yeah, from one perspective, the people who believe that, if they're not trolling, from their perspective, that's truth. Then you'll ask, well, is truth subjective or relative? Yeah, I think the truth is absolute, and there are some, like, yeah, in the absolute sense, we're all God. God is consciousness, God is love. But from the dual perspective, there's good and evil. And if someone wants to kill me and eat me, I'm gonna fucking fuck him up. I'm gonna defend myself. I'm not gonna go, oh, God is all, kill me, eat me, consume me, God is love. But we're still skirting away from the issue. Why is it the cannibalism is wrong? Or if not, ceteris paribus, all things matter, all things staying the same. If a cannibal uses a fork or chopsticks, even, isn't that sophistication? Isn't that progress? Or one can again. So there are different layers. That's why that's the problem with language. Languages can be interpreted in any way. Quran can be interpreted in any way. Bible can be. You cannot make any statement whatsoever, even from formal first order logic. That is also still random. When I use the symbol for every x, exists some y. If you write that in formal logic with backwards e and upside down a, that still is a fucking random string of, like a random ink on paper, random pixel on computer. No one can say, okay, this is it, this is the truth. You can never start with a first axiom. We can agree on certain things, certain morals, certain values, like don't do things that you want them do unto you, Confucius' golden rule and other stuff. And that's the problem with philosophy. It gets very murky real soon, despite the logical, despite the fact that it puffs itself like a puffer fish, giving a very quote-unquote logical vibe that everything is pristine, pure logic, but it's not. It's very murky once you delve into it. Yeah, on the surface, obviously, cannibalism is indecent, lewd, gross, but why? Why, and why is it even a crime? Why is it even illegal? Why is it unethical? What is crime? If we lived in a culture, Papua New Guinea, where the law is accepted, is that still a crime? If it goes the Javanese, was it Javanese or Jivago headhunters, like, from their relativistic, anthropological, cosmological, cultural milieu and context, that's cannibalism perfectly okay. But from Western ones, it's not. Again, read the paper Body Ritual of Nasirema. So, and that's the thing. That's what many noobs don't get. People who have been the old heads of philosophy. It's like, to them, it's like common sense. It's like the back of it's like they know, like the off the bat. Yeah, duh. Obviously, you can just say with a straight face, cannibalism is not right. I mean, it's wrong. So ultimately, philosophy is just meaningless bullshit. Actually, basically, it's all verbal verbiage and vernacular, where one can pretty much. That's why Zen has a superior upper hand. Because Zen obviously understands observes the limitations of language, and can point the shit up and like go to straight to the core of the matter, and that's why they'll be like, if two Zen masters meet, one could say, "Oh, look at this stork, so beautiful," and the guy will probably bow down and get a coconut, break it, get the drink the water, and then hit the guy, and then the next both Zen master will bow to each other. What the fuck? It's madness. But that's the whole point of this illustration. It's like they could have easily shook hands and said, "Oh, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, have a wonderful day," and doff their head. But why is what's the difference between the first one and the second one? Why is the first one not madness? First one madness, and the second illustration is not madness. The one that was sort of we ascribe civilization to it, culture, civilization, British people, wearing hat and coat and suits and doffing their head when they greet each other. The etiquette, politesse, courtesy. What do we even mean by politesse, etiquette, courtesy? What are the norms? Why are they the norm? But intuitively, I would say, yeah, it doesn't matter which culture you go to, kindness exists. Darwin made the observation that, smiles, laughter is universal. I think kindness too. African people African you don't need to go to Africa to do Ibogaine to be kind. Ubuntu, it's a very, even so that makes you wonder if we go back to like Cro-Magnon or Neanderthals, probably still kindness existed, or it was, or is kindness is a sort of evolutionary byproduct and an evolutionary advancement. Or is kindness unkindness? If you give heroin to a heroin addict, keep giving them and don't show him tough love and stern love, is that being kind, really? Ultimately, we have to stop philosophizing and using language and start feeling more. And that's why logic is inferior to feeling and emotions. But most people think logic is superior to feelings. Facts don't care about your feelings, blah blah blah. But it's very, once you think from a certain point of view, logic, philosophy, these are very primitive, very childlike. Okay, now I'm rambling. Let's just go back to the main topic, cannibalism. What? So one can argue equally, like it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, like, I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to. I don't want to make this too long than it's necessary. Just wanted to spark, just raising some questions. Feel free to discuss in the comment section. I'm keeping it open ended. Let me see if I can think of anything else. And also, at what point does it become too egregious? Is ripping someone's heart off more egregious crime than if you were to slice a layer of meat from the dermis, layer of dermis from some guy, like, or like, and then eat it? Is that considered more disgusting? Or if you ate someone's dick, cooked someone's dick and ate it, is that considered more like unpalatable, no pun intended, than fucking eating someone's heart or brain? Or what if someone had a liposuction, or like wanted to shed their extra layer of lard, and if there was some other guy and then ate it, is that gruesome? People say that's gruesome, but why is eating dog gruesome? Then some people will agree that yes, eating dogs is also gruesome, but then why is eating cow not gruesome? Both are meat, both are flesh. Oh shit, Orange County Fire is here. Probably their fucking feds are spying on me. Now I'm just being paranoid right now. Because I smoked. I don't know why he's here. Does he want to enforce people smoking weed in the park? Who knows? I'll end it on that note. Thank you for listening. Comment below what do you think. Let's keep it open ended.